So to start the afternoon, Saskia has offered to talk about her recovery story. Saskia came to me as a patient 4 years ago. Have I got that right? Yes, exactly 4 years ago, I realised, with a number of debilitating symptoms. She's going to tell you all about that. Like many people who recover from chronic pain, I know Saskia now actually talks about her symptoms being a gift. And I'm sure you'll explain that, won't you, Saskia? So welcome to Saskia.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Georgie, for the kind introduction and for asking me to be here today. I'm very excited to share my story with you. And I hope that some of you, I don't know how many people are here who actually suffer from this and hoping to benefit from what has been said and talked about today. I hope that maybe you'll be able to take something away from my talk, because I greatly benefited from listening to other people recovering and from their journey. So I'm also a little bit starstruck because some of the speakers here I read the books about, and I'm like, oh my God, they're all here, which is amazing. So I need some pictures later. But I just take you on my very, I suppose, average journey from everyone else as well that goes through this kind of recovery story. And I have been, now what I know, I had been suffering from TMS and from symptoms actually throughout all my life. I just didn't know anything about it. And the symptoms came kind of to a head in 2017. I had quite a full-on life, quite a busy life, nothing special, but just a busy job, did a lot of working out, was very obsessive about calorie counting, very much how body shape needed to look like, things like that. So obviously some of these traits that are flying around. I changed my diet at the time as well. So I was very self-critical, making sure that I would stick to certain routines, wouldn't slip up. And we had decided my partner and I, we had decided to move abroad to Canada. And pretty much around the same time as we made that decision, which was quite a big thing, I developed some pain, which I associated with an injury through a workout session. And it was like a hip pain. It felt a little bit of a muscle strain, nothing major. And I thought, you know what, I'll just stretch out, I'll just give it a few days rest, and I'll be off on my way to Canada. Well, little did I know that this would just be the beginning, what I thought was of the end. And symptoms just, they didn't turn into anything bad, they just were always there. So the hip pain was always there, and I did stretching, I tried wherever I could, didn't really help. So I decided to get some professional help and went to see a physiotherapist who gave me different exercises, which again, didn't really make a difference. Didn't quite understand because I stopped my exercising, I tried to recover, didn't really, really couldn't put two and two together. And then it kind of accelerated from there. So the pain from my hip moved into the other pain, then it moved down my thighs, down into my calf. And I couldn't quite understand what was going on because I thought, never had this before. The injury didn't really make sense to me in terms of what I was actually doing because I didn't do anything different to what I normally did. So I remembered that I saw an osteopath years beforehand, which diagnosed me with something called an locked SI joint. I don't know if you've heard of this before, sacroiliac joint. It was locked. And I thought, you know what, I go back to the same person because he unlocked me at the time. Maybe it's something like this, similar symptoms, which I did. And he said, lo and behold, that's what it is. So he unlocked my joint. It felt really good. But what he said to me was, so for the next 6 weeks, you need to make sure that you don't lock this joint again because the ligaments around this joint are really loose and they need to heal. And if you don't heal them in 6 weeks, you'll see me again, you have the same issue again. So I thought, okay, fine, 6 weeks I can do. So I stopped twisting and turning, all the advice I got. And thought I'd stop exercising again for those 6 weeks again. And 2 weeks later, I locked my joint again. I got the same symptoms, went back. And this went on and on and on. And actually the period of me being with this unlocked joint became shorter and shorter. And I got to the point where I literally saw him in the morning, and in the afternoon, I would lock my joint again. And he gave me then some exercises to do that I could actually unlock that joint myself. And then it accelerated from unlocking to locking within 30 seconds. So the stress around this, the panic, the fear, the Googling at night, the complete obsessiveness of trying to figure out what was wrong made the whole thing worse. And then I developed all of these beautiful other symptoms. So it wasn't just like what had started with a very simple injury, or what I thought was a strain, turned into an absolute nightmare, because I had burning down my thighs to the point where I couldn't get up anymore. It would just randomly come on, sitting on the couch watching TV. It's like, where's this coming? Didn't do anything. I couldn't walk anymore. I had water in my knees to the point where I couldn't bend. I had to stop everything. I was just lying on the couch, crying. Obviously, marriage suffered under that as well. I wouldn't see my friends anymore, my family. It was just the mental aspect of this was immense. As I'm sure a lot of you can relate to. So it's not just it's just the knock-on effect is huge. I had bilateral sciatic pain. I had an MRI scan. There was nothing wrong with me, but I had pain all the way down my both sides into my feet. Made no sense. I had lots and lots of knock-on pain that as I said, that absolutely made no sense. So I saw a lot of different specialists, got my MRI scans, got my CTs, saw someone about a fibromyalgia specialist, got blood tests, nothing came back. Eventually, someone said to me, you should do an epidural nerve block, which was the most painful experience ever. So I did that, and I thought, I'm sure this will help somehow. I didn't know what else to do. So I think this had been going on for about a year by now, that I was trying to figure out what was going on. And that nerve block didn't help. And then I literally got to the point where it's like, I have to surrender to the fact that this will be my life. I will just have to give up, just learn how to live with my pain somehow. So one of those frantic nights where I was just Googling stuff, how to live with pain, I came across one of these patient forums, and for whatever reason, Dr. Schubener's name came up. I don't know why, but it was a fateful day, a fateful night. And so I Googled him and found his book. And because of my personality trait of being very impatient, I couldn't wait for 2 weeks, obviously, for your book to turn up, because for whatever reason, it doesn't exist in the UK, just to order online quickly. So I Googled some other authors and doctors in that field, and came across Dr. Sarno's book. I read that very quickly, and it was probably one of the most, life-changing, I suppose, books I ever read, because I think one of the sentences said in there, you are not your thoughts. And it just all made sense. It just literally light bulbs went off everywhere. And it was very humbling. But then also at the same time, I thought I'm going to be one of those patients. I'm going to read that book. I'm going to heal instantly. No problem at all. I gave myself a week. Yeah. And I thought I can actually cancel the order of your book, because that'll be fine. So what work could I possibly have to do? So again, little did I know that that was the beginning of an incredibly interesting journey, but probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. So my personality traits are definitely a lot of what had been discussed about, low self-esteem, perfectionist, people pleaser, anything around that. But I was completely unaware of it. I had lived in complete autopilot for the previous 36 years. And to realize that was really, really hard. So I read the book, Healing, I can't remember, Dr. Sarno's book, whatever it was. And so even though I completely resonated with the messaging that was being communicated, I couldn't quite figure out how to make this work. And again, because of my obsessive nature of needing to understand everything into detail and wanting to be perfect and wanting to do this quickly, it was actually more counterproductive than anything else. So I then started with your book, and beautifully, all of these other symptoms came up. And I was like, what on earth is going on? This is meant to get easier. But no, it was actually getting tougher by the minute. And my brain was literally, we were in proper struggle. It was, okay, one side was accepting the diagnosis, And my inner child was like, nah, this is not happening. I'm enjoying myself way too much here. So there was a lot of other symptoms that crept up. And I think if I hadn't known, or if I hadn't read and I hadn't understood actually what was going on, this would have definitely freaked me out. Because I had this intense, heavy chest pain after going for a walk at one point. I thought I was having a heart attack. And I thought, like, I'm 36, how on earth can I have... Like, it felt like someone was squeezing my heart. I had pain moving constantly up and down, and I know because of obviously what's been discussed in healing journeys and books that there's a good sign, but it was excruciating pain. It wasn't just a little bit. It was like right up there on the scale. I felt like someone was choking me. I had like a choking feeling in my throat for weeks on end until I think one afternoon I just screamed into a pillow, just like trying to let it all out, and that helped. I had migraines, which I never had before. I had UTI symptoms, but no infections. It literally, my brain was throwing everything at me. And I thought, like, this is going to be interesting. So it was rather challenging. And I think that was about middle of 2018 when I started the work. As I said, I became very obsessed, again, very self-critical, felt like I wasn't good enough, I didn't heal quickly enough, I should be doing better, all of these other people heal so much quicker, they can accept it better. So all of these lovely thoughts that are very much TMS, personality traits. And then I thought, you know what, I need to speak with someone who actually, because I was quite isolated at the time as well. I'm very lucky that I had a partner who was incredibly supportive, to the point where I felt like I had a real sounding board. But it didn't really help because obviously he didn't come from a professional background, so on that side, I felt like I needed to speak with someone to, just to make sure I wasn't cuckoo, or like that there will be a solution to this. So I came across Georgie, which I'm forever grateful for, and I email her ever so often and say, like, thank you, you've changed my life, which is, sorry. Sorry. No, thank you. Like all of you. So, I'll get there. So, she very kindly, she was quite firm actually. She said, like, I'm saying kindly, but she was like, no BS, and very much like, you need to read a book. And I'm not wasting time, so you need to take this seriously, which I was really happy about. And so we had our weekly sessions or bi-weekly sessions, and it made such a difference because I was struggling so much with my brain and with my inner self, and I think I was so much in competition with this actually, fighting with it, that I couldn't really open myself up to the idea that there would be a pain-free life, and actually that I could heal from this. And Georgie opened my eyes to accepting the diagnosis for what it is, and that this is who I am, and there's nothing wrong with this, and just to embrace it and embrace the journey of it. And that really made a difference. That really helped me to progress. I didn't heal instantly again. It wasn't an instant healing, but it opened up the possibility for me to heal. And I think it's really, everyone's different, and I know some people have very, very quick recovery journeys. Mine just wasn't. Mine took about 18 months. So I know I've only had like really strong symptoms for about a year, but doing the work, I realized how much I actually bottled up, and how long it can maybe take to overcome these things. So I had to do a lot of work on myself. Again, as was being discussed, I didn't think I had a very bad childhood. I thought I was loved, everything was great, there was nothing wrong. I didn't really think that my trauma was worth the focus or the attention of pain. I'm an only child. Mine goes all the way back to like not knowing my dad. That was the result of an affair. My mom and my nana not wanting me from obviously not before I was even born. Constantly trying to fit in, to please, not to make any noise, not to stand out. I would blush when the focus was on me. I would very much constantly try to fit in, and just doing the exercise that I was on. Unlearn your pain. It was very much like, I think, allowing myself and being okay with the fact that every trauma, how small it is is worth of the attention and the love you give yourself. Because you don't have to necessarily be maybe abused at a physical level or at a mental level. But I think sometimes just for me, it was just never feeling good enough or having very low self-esteem and not fitting in or maybe being wanted. That was enough for slowly over the years to get to that point, which I understand now. Didn't know that, obviously, back in the day. So my recovery journey was very much an up and down, and I think the key for mine was, I thought it was just this one, and then it was an absolute mess. but that's a mess in a good sense, because it's been the most wonderful journey, and it's changed everything. The self-love I feel for myself, which I allow to feel myself now, is huge. And it's just that you're worthy, and you're allowed to set boundaries. Jesus didn't know how to set boundaries. The word no was like an epiphany to me, and all of these things it's just taken me onto this most magical path. It's hard. There's a lot of tears involved, but I've certainly managed managed to go traveling in the end. So we didn't go to Canada. Thank you. We did go to Canada, but we didn't move to work there and live there. But we did all the traveling thingy in the end, and I think everything that I didn't think was possible anymore, I know were possible, and I know it's taken away the fear. I know I don't have to worry about anything, which is, I think, the relief of this is like, I'm going to be okay. It's life-changing. And so when I get a little niggle, I actually laugh at my inner child. I think, I wonder what you're trying to tell me today. And it's not scared. There's no fear involved anymore. It's like pure passion for my inner child, which I've been neglecting. I had been neglecting for such a long time. And all she wants to do is protect me, be heard ever so often. I journal a lot. I have a practice where I'm grateful for things every day. I try to take life with a pinch of salt. And just to enjoy it. So if any of this can give anyone any inspiration and to help you to move forward, then I'm happy about that. Thank you.